All right, so our speaker today is one of our very own, Shannon Cole. She is the Executive Director for the Vermillion Cultural Association, and that encompasses the theaters too. So welcome, Shannon, to come up and tell us all about all of the good things happening there.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you for having me. So I'm originally from Michigan, but I spent about 10 years in Rhode Island, and I worked on a naval base, and there were so many Canada geese. And the Navy employed a dog named Sam, because that was short for, they love an acronym, the Navy, that was short for surface to air missile. So that was another way that they managed the geese population. Okay. So hi, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me join your organization. It's been in the works for a long time, and it just is kind of a confluence that all these things happen together. Once my brain was on Rotary, I just did all the Rotary things. So I joined and I signed up to present, but I was going to present anyway. I also wanted to specifically thank Betty Smith for her encouragement. She's one of the first people who said, hey, you should join Rotary. And then I spent some time figuring out how. And then recently, Kevin O'Kelly has been kind of stewarding me towards being here. So I'm really grateful to both of them. Oops, the end. Should have had that up for my Sam story. Okay. So I'm also here today. Specifically, I wanted to give this presentation to you guys because the Vermillion Cultural Association, we're sort of entering a new era. And we are the Town Arts Council now. I'll go over that briefly. And we've set some very specific goals for the future. And I'd like to share those with you. So first, Deb already kind of previewed this question, but what's the number one thing when you think of the nonprofit in town that happens to work downtown? What's the number one thing you associate with the Vermillion Cultural Association? Thank you, absolutely. So yes, our nonprofit was founded to save the movie-going experience in Vermillion by some of our fellow Rotarians in the room. At the time, the Vermillion Cultural Association purchased the Coyote Twin Theater and the Vermillion Theater, which we sold in 2022 and is now the AV Lounge. Today, we still independently own and operate the Coyote Twin, and from that headquarters, we do much, much more. And that's in part because this last year, we inherited this mantle of Arts Council from the former Vermillion Area Arts Council. That organization has now dissolved, and we are carrying forward their mission and their programs. So here's all of what we do. So, public art, our public art programs are probably, obviously, our most visible. Sculpture Walk came under our auspices in 2023 when the volunteer group that was managing that wanted a little bit of extra help and extra help advertising and coordinating. We just got new sculptures installed this year, so that's them installing the treble clef in front of the chamber. And then our public piano, which was outside Winnie Mays, that began as a grant project actually during the pandemic. And if you've been missing it, if you have noticed that there is not a public piano right now, one is coming. That was a first. We didn't know how it was going to go. We didn't know what its reception would be, but it is overwhelmingly beloved, but also punched a lot. So we're getting a new one. That is in the works. We're hoping to wheel it out this fall. Okay, and then Fools 48, Fools 48 Short Film Project was our first original program. Local teams will sign up to write, film, and edit together a short movie, like 4 to 7 minute movie, in just 48 hours. And this foolish undertaking happens around April Fool's Day annually. Finally, or not finally, but next, our Creative Aging, which is formerly the Art for Life program, is a South Dakota Arts Council grant program that we inherited from the VAC. That gives us grant money to pay artists to go into senior centers, living communities, care homes, we pay them and we pay for their supplies to help combat what Creative Aging calls the 3 plagues of aging, which are loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. So we've been partnering with the Main Street Center for several years on this. We expanded to Centerville this past year, and we're hoping to get into Beresford for this coming grant cycle. Messy Hands Summer Arts Camp is for the kiddos. So we've got the senior citizen support, we've got the kiddo support. That's actually happening right now. So it's a 1 week every year. This is a program we inherited from the VEC. It's been going for about, as best we can figure, about 15 years. This year we have 3 coordinators, 12 teen campers, 35 kid campers, 7 teaching artists, 7 wranglers, all in 4 locations downtown. And that whole thing was coordinated by our program director, Allie King, who I also inherited from the VEC. I'm very, very happy to have an Allie. And then finally, the Vortex Film Festival. It was an early dream of the Cultural Association, as owners of a movie theater, to have a film festival, and we made that dream come true 3 years ago. So the 3rd annual Vortex Film Festival will be it's always September. It'll be September 25th through 27th this year. And we just confirmed, last week we confirmed that our opening night movie will be a documentary about 9 sisters who attended the Marty Indian School. It's called 9 Little Indians, and it's about their lengthy legal battle that they fought to seek justice for the abuses they experienced at the school and expose what the school did. Interestingly, it's produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, but it is a native filmmaker who directed the film. So I just want to share some state context here. Most South Dakota town arts councils have 1 or 2 big annual programs. Maybe that's a music festival throughout a summer. Maybe it's 1 big art fair. Maybe it's during the winter. They wrap Christmas presents for folks. They have 1 or 2 programs. We have 5 programs. Plus, we run 2 venues. And we support artist grant projects when they say, hey, we have a public art project I'd like to go for, can you be my nonprofit umbrella? So we're busy. And what these programs have in common is the Cultural Association's mission. So our active principle as our mission is that we are committed to art as part of everyday life. It is not a separate thing, it is not a luxury, it is something that we as humans need and that we as humans feel better when we are experiencing, whether we recognize it or not. So that can be passive reception of a sculpture that's downtown or a mural. That can be active participation, like making sure that you go to a workshop to learn how to watercolor paint. Or that can be somewhere in between, by coming to see a movie or going to watch a play. It's a form of entertainment, but it's a type of art, right? Most entertainment is art. So I'm going to walk you through our 3 specific goals. How we're enacting those goals, and then how that meets our mission. It'll take less time than it sounds like it will. So our first goal is arts investment. And specifically, okay, how do I read this best? Vermillion's 2 wins for the USA Today Best Small Town Art Scene prove that art is core to our town identity, and so we dedicate funds to artists for projects that bring people together around art or to create public art. So I want to say that, yeah, as the Arts Council, it is literally our job to uphold that identity of best small town art scene. There are many players in this. Vermillion is so lucky that so many arts programs and nonprofits were able to flourish in part because of the VAC's influence. So what we focus on is supporting those who make that identity possible, and namely the artists themselves. Artist support is the invisible work that creates a successful, visible art scene. As an example, I want to tell you the story about Amber Hansen, who's a painting professor here in the Fine Arts department. Amber invited her student, Reina Hernandez, with 2 other students, to lead a community mural. She was teaching a mural painting class. She asked her students if they would like to help her lead a community mural. Now, they did. It's on the side of my building. It's beautiful. And now, Amber and Reina have their own nonprofit called Mural on the Wall, and they paint murals across the state. Their specific style of portraiture that Raina is really good at with her pictures of Native women in particular, and then the sort of neon feel that you can see more in the murals that they painted on the plots and on the side of Whitty Maze, that has become their signature style, and those murals are all over the state. And nationally, they've traveled to paint as well. So supporting those artists individually at a grassroots level really grew their impact, right? It really set them up for success. We have together, their original on our building, and I could not be more proud. So, a major conduit we have for supporting artists otherwise is inside the building. The First Dakota Coyote Gallery was formerly a video rental store, some of you may remember, and before that, in the building and that space was Monogram News, where I am often told that people would buy candy and then sneak it into the theater. Now it's a gallery because no one needed a video rental store, unfortunately. So we feature mostly local artists. We feature student exhibitions. Messy Hands is going to have a couple days to show off what the kids are working on this week. We also invite artists to hold workshops in this space. We host receptions for everybody who has an exhibition, and Messy Hands is in there again this week. So our current exhibition is this Please Remain Standing, the first photo there. There's some cards on your table about it as well. Another quick story. In 2022, I was upstairs in my office and someone walked in the door and she said, "Hi, my name is Benita Van Winkle." And I thought, no, it's not. That's the name of a fairy. you don't exist. But she said, "My name is Benita Van Winkle, and I'm photographing cinemas built before 1960. Could I take some pictures of your theater, and could you tell me its story?" And now, she's done this across the country, and now she's put it all together in a book, and it's called America's Hometown Theaters, and the Coyote Twin is in it. And not only are we in it, 7 other theaters from South Dakota are in it. And I'm, again, could not be more proud. This is really exciting, especially because she's coming to Vermillion next Tuesday, and she's presenting on her 40-year project of documenting theaters and telling their stories, and the importance of moviegoing and the importance of that kind of architecture. So, more on all of that in a minute. So she also donated, because this is her mission, this is her personal project to save theaters, she donated a ton of photographs of theaters to us. So any of the sale profits from those for our show, from this show, go to supporting the Coyote Twin. That's incredibly generous of her. She did not have to do that. It's a really good show. If you don't want to own the book, you can absolutely go look at the photos in the gallery. Okay, the pop-up shop is something that somehow we're still getting the word out about, but it started also during the pandemic. Michelle Meckling came to me and said she owns DeVita Art Company, which is an artist collective, and they usually do like trade shows, art shows. And she said to me, "It's the pandemic and we haven't been able to do any festivals and no one can make any money. Can we help?" And so she set up a shop in the gallery during the pandemic for those first couple of years and invited artists to sell their stuff so that we could kind of limit the number of people who were in there masked, safely. And now it's just an annual thing. We've been doing it for 6 years. It's a lot of fun. So many people still don't really know about it. And I just want to invite you, between November and December, that entire place turns into a store. It's incredible, the transformation that she takes it through. Michelle is also our gallery coordinator. She does a lot of the hanging of the exhibits, and she finds some artists for us. So I'm so grateful for Shell. Okay. And then finally, in this picture, we get a lot of use out of the pocket park that's next to the theater, and sometimes I forget to tell John, sorry. So the pocket park with the pagoda that the murals kind of point to. In 2022, again, we did a project, it was an artist grant project where she wanted to make paper lanterns, and we asked the question, what lights you up about Vermillion? And then we had people paint that or write that on those lanterns. And then over D-Day's weekend, we hung the lanterns in the pocket park and shared what lights you up about Vermillion. And it was really cool. And a lot of the conversations around that are what gave us the sort of guidebook. Once we inherited this Arts Council role last year, we've spent a year thinking, what do we want to do? How do we want to be the Arts Council? And a lot of those answers grew out of those conversations. So, our next goal is that we kind of try to do it casually. We try not to like let you know that we're trying to reel you in, but we're strategic about it, is to really connect the public to art, and that is, of course, AKA community engagement. There are two specific prongs of what we do that I want to talk about here. The first is the Arts Hub, and the second are the Community Movie Mondays. So I'm going to just tackle them one at a time. So the Arts Hub, you've got little pieces of paper on your table that say welcome to the Arts Hub, and there's a QR code. If you don't know how to use a QR code, you open your camera app, you point it at the thing, a link will pop up, you have to touch the link, not the square, you have to touch the link, and that will open a web page for you. So that will take you to our website. And our Arts Hub website, again, it's a digital resource. So we have 4 spokes to the Arts Hub. We've got the directory, the calendar, a piece for connection, and then our resources list. So the directory in particular is something we really wanted, and we had a sense that was needed from those conversations, is that people want to know who's doing the art. Where can I find a face painter? Do you know somebody who does this kind of thing? Hey, I want a mural painted. Who should I contact? You know, and so we wanted to create a directory of those people that where the public who want art can go and look up artists and say, you know, who can do what. Evelyn Schlenker came to our opening of our kickoff of the Arts Hub, and I said, Evelyn, you're an artist? And she said, no, I'm not. And I said, you write books. You're an artist, you're an author, and she lit up, and it was so touching. And I don't know if she's made her profile yet. But this is because artists are kind of incognito. They're the ones who make this town beautiful, but you can't look at somebody and say, oh, clearly that's an artist, right? A lot of them have other jobs. Reina Hernandez is the English department administrative assistant. Susan Hegestead works at Sanford, you know. It's hard to be a full-time artist, but it is a job, it is work, it deserves pay. So our directory and connecting that piece and making sure that these people are recognized for their work is really important. The second piece that you're probably going to use the most, I hope, is the Arts Hub calendar. We really are trying hard to combat this whole there's nothing to do in this town kind of mentality, or, oh, well, I didn't know that was happening. You know, we hear that a lot. I know the library gets frustrated with that too. So we're just trying to make one more platform where people can find out what's going on, especially if you're not on social media. Excuse me. So you can go to our website. I'm not going to do it now because I want to be careful of time. But you can go to our website and you can check out the just giant scroll of specifically arts and culture things that are happening in Vermillion. You can also access that website through the Live Vermillion app, which you're also using to vote for their burger battle, I hope. So if you open the app and you click on community calendars and events, I don't remember which order it is, but it will eventually take you to the Arts Hub calendar where you can find, again, art-specific events. I'm going to skip the other two, but I want you to know that Substack is a blogging platform, basically, and that's how I am now reaching people through newsletters. And so if you would like to subscribe, if you are subscribed to our newsletter, or if you can go to the Arts Hub and sign up. But if you are subscribed to our newsletter, they're now coming as Substack posts, but our Substack is also used for things like manager Chandra of the Coyote Twin has written some movie reviews. You know, it's also just a way for us to communicate about what we're doing, about the arts in town, and we're hoping that people will start to interact with us there. Okay, so second piece of community engagement is a little more, oh, things changed. Is a little more familiar. It's the first thing that people think of, right? We use the Coyote Twin as our main piece of engagement with the community. Specifically this year, we've set ourselves a goal of hosting as many free movies on Mondays that we're calling Community Movie Mondays as we possibly can find sponsors for. So far, we've had 19 free movies out of 28 weeks. That's not bad. So the goal here is because we know that it's hard for people to pay for tickets, we've definitely seen a drop in paid attendance. We still want people to be able to engage with art. We still want to give people a reason to be in our building. And I don't know, why not go see a movie for free? That's fun. And organizations can use it as kind of a way to promote a certain cause. You know, the USD has showed a few documentaries. Greeting Vermillion showed a documentary. but you can also just show a movie for fun because you like it. The Cheeseman Center, the last one we just did this Monday, the Cheeseman Center for Democracy, as part of their America's 250 grant funds, they showed An American Tale, and I talked to Dr. Hellweg about that, and she did not grow up in America, and I said, American Tale, you remember Fievel? And she was like, no. But we do. And we were all like, trust us, Julia, trust us, this is a good one. So again, this is it for now. We don't have any other sponsors lined up, but we think once school starts again, we'll start working with USD and putting together more community movie Mondays. And then of course, during the holidays, VCDC helps us find partners in order to sponsor holiday movies. You guys know what else goes on in the Coyote Twin. We also do Rocky Horror on Side 2 every year. So if you are a Rocky Horror fan or you just like Halloween, we always have a shadow cast performance, which is a really unique kind of art. Speaking of partnerships and people we work with, USD is of course our biggest partner in the community. We have so many ways that we interact. It started with USD subsidizing student ticket prices so that student tickets are always only $8. They're always about 20% less of what the average ticket price is. And then it grew into Free Movie Fridays, where USD's Campus Activities Board will pay for students to go see a movie on a specific Friday, just to give them some good, clean fun. And then it kind of grew into, we're a learning lab, where classes that want to engage with, I don't know, the community can call me up and I go and I talk to classes about what we do. Or I've talked to Chuck's class a couple times about specific projects that we're working on and kind of handed that over and said, okay, what would your marketing plan be, for something like this? This is actually Amber and Raina teaching a mural class in the gallery so that they can just then walk outside and look at their murals and talk to the class about that. And then this past spring, we started working with the new Humanities at USD initiative with Prentice Clark. And students can now have an internship and get credit for it. And so we had an intern, Abigail, and Abigail is actually the one who created most of the digital platform of the Arts Hub, so God bless her. And she is an anthropology major, and she thought she just wanted to do like transcription. She thought that's what her internship would be. And then I asked her to, start making the calendar, and she said, there is so much to do in Vermillion, I had no idea. She's from Beresford. And she was so excited, and now she's like, well, maybe, it's changed her mind about how she maybe wants to use her anthropology degree, and that's like very touching. Okay, so our final goal actually is it really helps the other two. Investment and engagement depend on the ability to see what's going on, depend on visibility of the arts and of opportunities to participate in them. So, toward that end, we are looking at the future and how we make sure that we can absolutely guarantee that people know what is going on, because Facebook isn't enough, a Substack isn't enough, a calendar isn't enough. You have to put it on Main Street. You have to put it out there for people to see. We are launching the More Than Movies campaign, a fundraising effort to install digital screens on our marquee, not take down the marquee, but just simply replace those old letterboards with digital screens. Don't panic yet. And this campaign will also help us make some internal improvements that will help us provide more sort of arts-based programming to sort of broaden what we can offer the community more easily for the staff. And as the Arts Council, again, we're doing this because we have more to communicate to the community because we are doing more in the community. So those vintage boards with the red letters that you see lit up over here, it's so cute, it's so quaint. Oh, but the aesthetic, I understand. We have it captured in a photo in a book, we approve. However, the future is the future, and we have so much to do, and we can only fit 11 letters across on those boards, and I only have 3 ends. And you can't make more of these. They're very vintage. There is one place in Maine that owns all of them because they've bought them all up over time. They're quite expensive to replace. In fact, I thought I had 4 ends because I had Kevin Bliss take hooks and latches off of some cues and attach them to ends. And then this week, one of them fell off of, we have Minions and Young Washington. We can't even fit Young Washington. It just says Washington. And my assistant manager, Sam, was like, oh, sorry, one of them broke. We only have 3 again. So it's tough. And there's so much confusion. Community Movie Mondays, we try to change the marquee to let people know, but again, it's hard. You know, our assistant managers have always had to get up there in the wind and the rain and the snow and the ice. I worry constantly about head injuries, about ladder slips. It would be safer, it would be better, and it would be so much more effective. Have you ever sat at the stoplight of like Dakota and Maine on Main Street, and you're looking at the pump and pack? I learned so much from that tiny little screen. I know what vape flavors they have. I don't vape, but I know just because of that screen. A digital marquee could also serve as a community billboard. This wouldn't just be for us. We would let other organizations use it for a fee to get across their messages for other kinds of civic engagement and community spirit. We'll have the ability to put up ads for city events that are happening, Vado performances, community theater performances, or even personalized messages. So like Sanford kind of rents out their screen to say happy birthday to people. We could do that, and we could do it right downtown. So finally, our official launch date is actually that Please Remain Standing event where Benita's going to come and talk, July 21st, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Because as mentioned, her lifelong mission is to preserve the existence of and the purpose of movie theaters as places to bring people together for meaningful experience, to hear good stories, and to make memories. And that's still what we're all about. We're just also doing it with art now and not just movies. So our More Than Movies campaign is how we are moving forward into the future as an arts council and in our home, which is the Coyote Twin Theater. So you can purchase tickets to the event on our website, coyotetwin.com. You also get a discount if you buy a book. So tickets are $35, the books are $75. If you buy them together through our website or on site that night, you can you get a discount of $10. So that's my big push for that event. Whether you buy a book or not, please come. She's so cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. And lastly, I just want to give a quick shout out to my VCA team. You've got Allie there in the middle in the pink pants. Chandra's on the end. She's our theater manager. Sam is our assistant manager to the right of Allie. He makes a lot of TikTok videos that get a lot of engagement. And I'm grateful to our board of directors who keep me on the right track, and to our former members and some founding members in the audience, Ted Munster, Betty Smith, and Sue Tuvey. Thank you so much. I am so grateful to all of you. Rotary, I don't know when you announce these kinds of things, but Rotary was kind enough to give $500 to our More Than Movies campaign. You're one of the first donors. You've given me a lot of confidence that this message is going to work, so I'm incredibly grateful for that too. I love my job, and I love talking about it, so I know we only have 5 minutes, but please ask questions. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Just an announcement that you were on In the Moment.
Yes, for the public piano.
And I would encourage everyone, or anyone who's at all interested in the story of the public piano, to go to the In the Moment page off South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
Yes, it was really kind of Lori Walsh to cover that. And then listening to Brooks play. Whew, I can't even do chopsticks. I think it's amazing. Anybody else? Oh, Ted.
What is the funding goal for your new digital marquee?
Say that again?
How much money do you want?
Oh, I did forget to read that line. Thank you. Our goal is $150,000 over 2 years. Again, that includes some internal improvements and new doors. Our doors aren't very secure, don't tell people. So it'll be for more than that. The marquee itself will probably be 50 to 60. So that's a big portion of the money. We're hoping to also do the sign in the middle to make it brighter, so add another 10. And then, you know, internal stuff and doors from there. So, yeah. Dave, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious, is there any potential space downtown for another mural? Has there been any?
So here's the funny thing, that's not up to me. I don't own the buildings downtown. Yeah.
There's been, well, you could maybe nudge a building owner to.
So, yes, the thing is that murals come with upkeep, like, you know, if there's funds, I would love to be able to, using the More Than Movies money, I would love to be able to pay Amber to come back and retouch the Vermillion mural, this one, because this picture is very bright when it was new, but it is starting to fade. So I would love to be able to do that, but as a building owner, you have to be willing to become the steward and the caretaker of that piece of art. And so Brule was, Becky Enquist Schroeder with Winnie Mays specifically commissioned that mural. So I think there's plenty of walls that could use some art, but it's not up to us, but I'm happy to like help make those connections. Yes, sir.
Are murals restricted to downtown?
No.
Have you thought about putting a mural on West Cherry Street or the Piper Plain Talk strip mall?
That's up to the building owners. Yeah, right. Yeah, like there's a mural inside the Community Connection Center, for example. Susan Hegestead painted that. There's a mural at the community garden now. They painted their little tool shed with a mural. There's all kinds of opportunities, yeah. Betty?
I would love to see a mural, Ride with Larry.
Yes, in the bike park, that would be really exciting too. Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
Find me an artist, we'll find a way to pay him. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks Shannon for that. We have our 50-50 drawing. And I'm not going to make Shannon run all the way back up here.